All right, everybody, welcome to the first episode of the Totally Worth It podcast. My name is Kendall.
And my name is Haley.
And we are married. And we decided that we were going to start a podcast.
Well, he decided.
I decided on the new year I was going to start a podcast. And I asked her for her help. And at first, it was going to be some different things, but it turned into us doing a podcast together about everything.
Yeah.
You listen to a few podcasts that are similar to that.
I mean, just like young
married couples.
Yeah, young married couples.
Yeah, that's cool.
Family.
We're one of those.
Yeah, we are. I mean, you say you're not young, but
I'm not. I'm an old man. I'm 31.
No, you're still young.
So I told Haley that I wanted to do a podcast starting in the new year, because I did it once before, a couple years ago for like a couple episodes and with a friend, and it was fun. And but it's only fun to me if you can do it with someone. So I felt like who better to do that with than my bestie for the restie, but my wife. And what did you say when I asked you?
No.
You did not. You said yeah.
I said yeah. I hate the sound of my voice. So I already knew it was going to be difficult, but you know.
But I think you'll get it. You'll learn to get over that.
I hope so.
I mean, I have.
Well, yeah, but you also, used to sing, and you're used to microphones.
But this is different, because this isn't something like you don't like. Singing's easy because you memorize it.
Yeah.
You don't have to write the words.
Yeah.
This is.
I guess like it's the talking on the spot that.
But I don't think it's that. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. We've never done it, but I am excited that we're gonna try this. And
like you're never gonna hear me start this podcast. Like, that's just not my thing.
We don't really know how we're going to start it. We took about 15 minutes to decide that I was going to say, hey guys.
Yeah, you just got to hit record and go.
I think what we'll do is throughout however long we do this, that I'll say something like, hey guys, welcome to the such and such episode. Because I think it'll be gratifying when you get to like 300,
Oh gosh, welcome to the 200th and 299th episode.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So a little bit of backstory behind it. I've always been into, not, I won't say techie things, but things like content creation and websites and YouTube and things like that. But I've never really delved into the podcast world. But circling back to what I was just saying, all of those other things that I've done, I would do them for a couple months or a couple weeks or
other people.
Huh?
You would do those things for other people.
Yeah, for other people, but I'd also do it for myself.
Yeah.
And I would do them for, a couple months, and then I would just like kind of get sidetracked and move on to something else. Yeah. And that really pisses me off because I feel like I've never been able to
fully commit.
Pick something, create something, and do it, and fully commit to doing it.
Yeah.
And I think I actually, opposed to common belief, I actually have fun talking to you.
Yeah. I feel like most people don't.
Most people don't have fun talking to their spouse.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. It's not even a New Year's resolution. It's more of I just want to do something so that I can tell myself that I can do it.
Yeah.
And who doesn't need a podcast, I mean, I listen to podcasts all the time at work.
Yeah.
And
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. But when we first met, you're like, podcast, stupid.
I don't want to listen to people talk.
I don't want to listen to somebody talk.
Like, I'll listen to music all day long, but just the thought of having to sit and listen to someone talk and I can't see them.
See, I feel the same way about like how you read books. I can't just sit down and look at a page and read books.
Yeah, but it comes to life.
Yeah, and I feel like listening to people talk and telling stories and comedy and whatever, drama, whatever it is, listening to people talk in real time is interesting to me, and I feel like I learn something listening to podcasts all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have gotten I don't want to say better at it, but I've grown to, I guess, enjoy podcasts more just from like watching the people that I follow on social media. Like they're all starting podcasts now, and
who do you like? Because I really honestly don't know, and I'm not just asking you this to get you to say some stuff. I really don't know.
No, I like listening to Matt and Abby. Theirs is the Unplanned podcast.
Okay. That's the one that the girl who's like always like this.
No.
And you know what I'm talking about. Wore the Grinch outfit.
No. That's not her. But she did just start a podcast this year.
Yeah. Okay, so that's not her.
No.
Okay.
But she, you're talking about Devin Cordell.
Yeah, the Cordell family. Yeah. That's what I'm talking
about. I like them. They're very funny, and I don't know. I just like them. I just like people that we can relate to, whether it's, religion, family, they've got kids.
Yeah.
If you have kids, like, you're automatically one up in my book because we automatically have something to talk about.
Yeah, and there's also a vast void of relatable things once you have a kid, especially when you're young like we are. I mean, you're what? How old are you? 27, 26? 26. I don't know. I can't count. You're 26. I'm 31. We got a 2-year-old.
2.5.
2.5-year-old. Excuse me. But once you have a kid, you're no longer able to do the things that you were really into, like going places and doing stuff, and so like you immediately lose all of the other people who are into that, and you don't necessarily have the same influences anymore.
Yeah.
So like being able to look to and listen to other stories from people who are in your same season of life is, I feel like and there's more and more of it now, but back then there wasn't really anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can listen to Joe Rogan or whatever, but that's not like a couple thing. There wasn't really any, like it's hard to find a couple who's young who has something that you can go, it's content that's created that you can go and listen to and relate to, just like you can music.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was kind of one of the multiple ideas behind doing it, and I just like messing with sound equipment and stuff too. So I'm hoping that we can, if we do continue it and do it, I'm hoping we can sharpen things up a little bit and get it a little bit more user friendly. I hope that the audio doesn't sound terrible on this one. I'm looking at the wavelength of it, and it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty good. So I reckon we'll just tell a little bit about us, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
You want to spearhead that, since I kind of talked about behind. Well, first, before we do that, well, I guess you can include the totally worth it part in that.
I mean, yeah. So,
how did we become to be?
Okay, so fun fact: we actually went to school together. At one point, but the age gap was
creepy.
Yeah,
was weird.
I was in 7th grade when he was a senior, but it was a super small school. So
super
I cheered for his basketball team, and I'm in the 7th grade.
She says that like it's like a kind of like One Tree Hill or High School Musical kind of basketball team, but it's not like that at all.
Definitely not at all.
It was one of those teams that you don't have to try out for. You just buy the jersey. You buy the jersey and you're on the team.
Yeah.
So, but she was a cheerleader.
Yeah. So we went to school together. Obviously he graduated and went on to college, and I went on to high school.
It's really creepy when you say it that
way. But we reconnected in 2019, I guess. Whenever you started putting out music.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, I can't remember when, but
yeah,
I had a bit of a dark season.
Yeah.
In my life, and I started writing music and stuff and putting it out there, and she just happened to be
I was like his number one fan.
Following me on
and
social media.
And it was very genuine. I was just like rooting for.
But let it be noted that when we were at school together, we didn't really.
Yeah, I mean, you were just so much older
other.
than me.
Yeah, we didn't even.
I knew who you were.
Seen you, yeah, but we never really like.
We didn't. Talk.
I had never spoke to you really.
Yeah, no. But where was I going with that? You got me sidetracked.
The music.
Oh, yeah. So I just remember always sharing your music every time you would release something. And I was genuinely just being supportive of like, there's somebody from my hometown that's making country music and putting it out there. Like, I just always thought that was fascinating. And then,
you had to tell them it was country, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. You'll go find it.
Don't do it.
But I don't know. Like, I think I liked your stuff and shared, but nothing. It was never more than that for probably like a year.
Yeah.
And then I guess like summer of 2019, one of my friends.
At that point, you were back in our hometown, and I was like off living in a city.
Yeah, you say back in my hometown like I left, but
yeah. I'm saying you were back in our hometown.
Yeah.
I was not there. I was gone.
After he graduated college, he stayed up there. He stayed
I went to college
Greenville.
somewhere up in the mountains.
Yeah. So
I think it's fair to say we went to college in Greenville.
Yeah.
I could say that.
Yeah. I don't lost my train of thought.
we were it was a year. It was like a year, and you were following the music and stuff.
Oh yeah, and then one of my friends was like, y'all would be so cute together, and I was like, he is not about to give me any time of day. Like, he's up in Greenville making music, living his best life, playing in bars, doing the whole shebang.
Yeah, not
like,
a good
he is
time.
not going to pay me any attention. And I just remember she was like, just send him a message, just asking about a show or something. And I remember sending you a message asking you when you were going to come home and play a show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, soon, yeah.
And I don't even know. We somehow got each other's Snapchats.
Yeah.
And
this is such a millennial story.
Yes, and then we started talking and
started chatting it up.
Yeah, and then
I finally had my first groupie. First and only.
Yep. So then we had been texting for I don't know a couple of weeks or so, and he was something with a friend. Yeah, y'all had a party, somebody's birthday party or something.
Yeah, somebody's birthday that I worked with or
and
something.
You were talking about how
they all had people going with them.
Oh yeah.
And they wanted me to go, and they knew I was single, and I didn't want to
And you had said something to me about it, and
I was like, it'd be cool to have somebody to come to this with me.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I mean, I'll come up there, and you were just like, no, you won't. And I was like, why not? Like, I don't have anything else.
It was nighttime.
Yeah,
already.
It was like 9:00 at night. And he was like, would you really do that? And I just said, I mean, I don't have anything else to do. Why not? And I threw some clothes in a bag and got in my car at 10:00 and drove
the most dangerous
all the
thing
way
you
to
could have
Greenville to, I say meet, but I mean, I knew you. I knew you weren't going to kill me.
You kind of knew that, but not really.
And I drove all the way to Greenville, got there at midnight. My mom thought I was, staying at my friend's house down the street. I was, 21 at the time, I think.
Yeah.
And got there. And he's like, yeah, it's just like a sports bar. We're just all getting together. And I was like, well, I don't have anything on except Nike shorts and a t-shirt and Crocs. And I just remember you being like, it's fine. It's not like that at all. It's just like a little sports bar. You'll be fine. And I said, okay, whatever. And I remember you didn't have contacts in, and I didn't know that he's like half blind. So I get in this raggedy old S10.
That was not raggedy. That was a beast.
Okay.
That was a beast.
And we go to downtown Greenville.
I was, just side note, I was the man in that S10. The man.
Okay. Anyway, so he drives us to downtown Greenville. It's midnight, or it's probably 1 o'clock at this point. And we're walking down some street in Greenville, and all of a sudden I hear music from outside, and I'm like, "Where are we going? This is not where we're going."
She thought it was like a restaurant. I mean, I didn't really know where we were going.
You
either.
literally told me it was a sports bar.
That's what I was told.
And we like walk up to where this address is. There is a bouncer outside, and you can just hear music like belling out. It's literally a club. And I just was thinking, oh my God, I'm not going in here. I'm not about to meet his friends. I'm in Crocs.
Tell him what you were wearing.
I was in Crocs
What
and
else?
Nike shorts. And I just remember handing my ID.
I'm pretty sure I had bedroom shoes on.
Probably. And I remember handing my ID to this bouncer, and he just looks me up and down, and I don't even think he looked at my ID. He was just like, go ahead in. And I remember going inside, and it was like, what the heck? And it wasn't even 20 minutes later, and they were like, all right, last call. And I was like, we just drove here to be here for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was a good little drive.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, all your friends were real nice, and
yeah, she really had no. I mean, she knew me. We talked and stuff a good bit before that, but she didn't really know me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, whatever, this okay. So we ended up leaving there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we leave there, and I'm like embarrassed because I didn't know it was a nightclub, and she's embarrassed because she's in Crocs and Nike shorts. And so we go. I had an apartment up there at the time, and I know this sounds weird, but I was like, I mean, she's not going to drive all the way home, obviously, so she's going to stay the night. So we go. I think, did we get a cookout or something? We got food. We had to have gotten food. No,
I don't think so. I think we just went back to your apartment, and you left me there with your cat.
I left you at the apartment with my cat,
and you went to the store to get drinks.
Yeah. I went to the store to get some drinks. And then
we sat out on the patio.
Yeah.
And just like talked and listened to music, and
the next thing we knew,
I was like, I said, why is the sky looking like that?
No, you said something about why are there so many lights or something, the street lights or something were so bright, and I was like,
that's
Haley,
the sun.
That's the sun.
I said, oh my God, I've got to go to bed. I've got to drive home. I got a funeral to go to. Oh my gosh. And so then you made me take your bed, and you slept on the couch, and we slept we set an alarm, slept like 3 hours. Got up,
and then I took you to an amazing little hole-in-the-wall Japanese place, and
I remember my mom texted me while we were there and was like, "Where are you at?" Or she said, when are you coming home?" And I just sent her a picture of you sitting in front of me, and she was like, "Where are you at?" And I was like, "I'm in Greenville." She was like, "Just get home."
But yeah, that was our first.
I guess that's how we met.
That's how we met. Yeah. In person.
Yeah.
That was our first, I guess you'd call meet up.
Yeah.
Date. That was our first date, really. That was our first.
I think our first date was like a couple days later. You had 5 days off, and you came all the way home and came and got me from my house, and we went to Akina.
Oh yeah, when we ate hibachi here in Lancaster. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of how we. Yeah. That's kind of how we met.
So then when we were actually dating, and everybody wanted to know, like, well, how'd you meet? Blah blah blah, and I would like tell them that story, and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe you did that." And I was just like, "Yeah, it was totally worth it, though."
Yeah.
And that's just always been our thing.
Yeah, it was totally worth it.
It just kind of stuck.
Yeah, and I remember you every time you would come up there to visit me, because I worked up there at a plant. night shift, and she would come up and visit me, and then you wrote it on something. Did you not?
I think I wrote a note or a letter or something.
Yeah, you wrote it on the thing, and then when I came home the next morning, either you had to go back home or you stay there or something, or you was asleep. But my whole apartment from the top to bottom was like spick and span clean, and it had a note.
Oh, yeah. I drove up there while you were working, so I left home at like midnight, and I got there at 2, and I cleaned till like 6 a.m., and I fell asleep right when you got home.
I could not believe you did that. At that moment, I said that I'm going to marry this woman.
Right, I'm sure.
But yeah, we that's kind of where we came up with the it's total. Actually, you're the one that actually just started saying it, and it just kind of became our thing that it was totally worth it.
Yeah,
we really did some weird, dangerous stuff back then.
We've done a lot in the 4 years.
Oh God,
we've been together.
We've been married 4. Is it 4 years?
No, we've been married for 3. We've been married together for 4.
Been together for 4. Yeah, we've done some pretty wild stuff. But it was totally worth it.
Yep. Everything so far has been. I mean, we've had some real hard lessons we've learned.
We've definitely had some lessons.
But
so, just a little bit more into that. So we did the distance dating thing for a little while.
It was just a couple months.
It was a couple months, and then I moved back here. She drugged me back to my hometown.
Right.
Kicking and screaming.
To be fair, you didn't ask me to come up there.
That's true. That's true. Well, we had discussed it, but it wasn't in a serious way.
Yeah.
And I just didn't really want to be there anyway because I was by myself up there.
Yeah.
And
your family.
Yeah, my family and all is here, so it just made more sense. My brother and them had kids and stuff, so
yeah.
I just kind of wanted to be closer.
So he moves home and moves in with me and my mom, my sister, my stepdad.
Very odd
at the time.
Very odd situation.
Yep. Sure. I'm still surprised that my mom let that happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I think my mom knew. I think she knew.
She knew that we were golden.
Yeah, I guess. Because she would not have just let a guy that I've been dating for a couple months just move into her house.
You know how when kids would be like, "Well, you did the same thing, Dad," or "Mom, you did the same thing when you were young." That's not gonna fly.
No, ain't no boy living up in this house.
Ain't no boy moving up in my house.
But yeah, so we stayed with my parents. You were working, I was working, and then we got an apartment.
Yeah, we got an apartment somewhere. We lived there for a little while, and then
like 6 months, and then I found out
I had took a new job doing construction for like a year almost or so.
Yeah, you did it about a year.
It was about a year, and then how do we tell that next part without getting too detailed?
I mean,
about employment.
I mean, you just decided you wanted a career change.
Yeah.
And you applied.
Well, first though, we obviously we got pregnant.
Yeah, but that happened before I found out I was pregnant.
The career change?
Yeah.
Real? Oh yeah, it did. It all kind of
it was
happened
all
at the same
month.
time. Yeah, it was all in the same month.
Yeah. So he.
Well, you got pregnant, and then they were like, "Well, when this job's over, we're going to send you to God knows where."
Yeah, they told you we were going to have to move and travel every couple years, and we just started thinking like, well, if we want a family, we're not going to want to uproot our kids and all that stuff.
You were pregnant, and I knew that wasn't going to work. So.
Well, I wasn't even pregnant then. I just remember I had COVID, and while we were quarantined,
because I was still
3
working
weeks,
there when you got pregnant.
No.
Yeah, because I drove all the way to Charlotte with my head out the window screaming that I'm going to be a father.
Yeah. Whatever. I think you were in the middle of trying to get that job and quit the other one and all that stuff. So, I found out we were pregnant, and then literally that was on a Tuesday, and he proposed to me on a Friday, but it was already planned.
It was totally already planned, and there was like 6 billion people there. There was invited way beforehand. So
Yeah, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, y'all had a shotgun wedding,"
Yeah,
but
yeah,
literally
yeah.
the proposal was planned before I even knew I was pregnant.
But there's no way of avoiding that it looked just like a shotgun wedding.
Oh, absolutely, because we knew we didn't want a wedding.
Yeah, we didn't even have a wedding.
And that was decided before we were ever engaged or anything like that. We knew we didn't want a wedding. We wanted a house and we wanted to furnish it and all the things. And so,
and actually live a little bit.
And then surprise, found out I was pregnant the week that I was getting proposed to.
Got rid of all that living a little bit part right there.
Yeah. And so then we a week later, like 1 week after we got engaged, we got married at your best friend's
my best friend
kitchen.
Who's a preacher.
Yeah, his friend's a pastor
at his house in the kitchen.
We went to his house and we filled out all the paperwork and signed it. Didn't say a vow. Didn't do nothing. We didn't even have rings. I had my engagement ring. I still don't have a wedding ring.
She still does not have a wedding band.
I can't find one that works with it. I mean, we bought you a silicone ring.
Oh yeah, I got the little rubber ones. Yeah, for work and stuff.
And the rest was history.
Yeah. So from there we
we got to talk about how when we were living in Monroe, we were living our best life. You were working construction. I was working in a doctor's office. You were playing gigs every Saturday night.
Yeah.
You were this like
we were killing.
You were this country music star.
We were killing it, dude. Nobody knows who I was, but I was somebody.
Everybody local knew
that Travis Tritt song. I'm gonna be somebody. That was me. I was somebody. You know.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, then we got pregnant and you changed jobs, and the job was like, gotta cut that out.
Yeah, the job that I went to, it put a damper on the
music.
The music, and also being a parent did that too. It wasn't.
Yeah, things had to change real quick.
Yeah, because I mean, you can. Could I have really like been intentional and kept doing some of it? Probably.
Oh yeah.
But obviously our first kid, so I didn't know what to expect, so I was prepping for disaster.
Yeah.
And so I just
kind of hung that up.
I kind of hung all that
Became dad.
We
bought a house.
Yeah. So we left that apartment when we got pregnant. We needed a window to save some money so that we could get a house, because I knew that
we were already buying the house.
No.
Mm-hmm. We went to your parents because we were waiting to close, and it just got pushed back.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of, most people have like a 30, 45 day close on their house. It took us 90 days.
Yeah, but that's because we did the funky loan. We did some weird funky loan.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. It's going to make me mad. If Drew ever hears this, he's going to laugh.
Oh, yeah. But we bought this cute little house in this cute little town that we love. We actually still live in that town. And I loved that house. That house was awesome. It was cute first.
It's always going to be special.
Yeah. It was a cute first house. I don't even ride down that street very much anymore, because when I see it kind of makes me sad.
Yeah. We had the cute little fenced-in backyard. And
yeah, it was cute.
We made that house a home.
Oh yeah,
like we painted and put carpet in, and we brought our kid home there.
Yeah,
it's always going to be special.
God, so many sleepless nights there.
Yeah, a lot.
So many late night baby crying, feeding bottle moments in that house.
Yeah, and so we were in that house, like not even.
It was.
It was like 2 weeks after we moved into the house, you had to leave for work.
Yeah, I had to leave for 8 weeks. Was it 8?
8 weeks.
Was it really 8
weeks?
Gosh.
Yeah.
How did I do that?
I don't know. But he left for 8 weeks, could only come home on the weekends. And I was super pregnant at the time and still working. But then, I quit work at some point during that.
It was probably like 4 weeks. And then
right after you came home, it was like a month later I had Joe.
Yeah, because I remember being at work when a couple little scares that we had. Not scares, but like when you thought maybe it was time or something. And
Yeah, I had a lot of issues.
Yeah,
So I was in and out of the hospital the last week.
We could spend
a whole
episode talking about that.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Yeah.
That's what the other podcast I was talking about. They spent like a whole episode talking about dealing with all that and postpartum and having babies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was cool to hear other people's story.
Oh yeah, I bet, because it makes you feel like you're not alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like
that's beneficial
when bad things happen and you just want to hear other people's stories that you can relate to. Because I kid you not, I had like the worst traumatic story ever, and every single friend I have has had like the smoothest, best birth ever.
They're
so
all
I'm like,
oh my gosh, I pushed for
15 minutes. So I have to get on social media and find other people and listen to their podcasts that have had like horrible births. Which I mean, I don't know. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was bad. We can definitely hit that though.
Yeah.
But for the story sake, we had Jo. We brought her home. We kind of raised her. I mean, up until she was.
You act like we gave her back.
No, I'm saying
kind of raised her.
I mean, I'm saying in that house.
Oh yeah.
Probably until she was what?
Literally, half of our house was packed up at her first birthday party.
Yeah, her first birthday party.
And we sold in June.
Yeah, the housing market. That was when the housing market shot
exploded.
Up, and we made a good bit amount of money off of our house. And I think you could articulate whether or both ways, whether we should have sold it or should not have sold it. Oh yeah,
I mean, definitely. I mean, we took advantage of the market when we sold.
We did, but we also created a lot of headaches for ourselves.
We definitely did. I mean, we could have stayed there, locked in at a 3%.
Oh man, dude, and we'd be rich right now.
Yes, but in return, we would have been locked in, but we would have still had debt.
We would have still also, that too, and we would have not necessarily been where we wanted to be.
Right. So we took advantage of it, sold, paid off everything, moved back into his parents' house for the second time, and stuck it out there.
And while we were there, that's when you started your business.
Oh yeah.
Tell a little bit about that.
So it was like January or February of.
Because you had already kind of planned to do it when we were still at the house.
Yeah, it was. I think it was January or February of no. Yeah. No.
Because I remember sitting at the table working on that website.
Yeah, was that 20?
Right
no,
there.
That was the beginning of 2023.
Right there where we said we wanted to put those doors. Remember where the windows were in the kitchen?
That had to have been 20. I don't know when it was. Yeah, we did talk about that. But I sat down with my mom, and me and her are really close. And she worked in retail her whole life, and we both love clothes. And I said, you know what? I'm a stay-at-home mom. I want to do something for myself. And it's always been her dream, so we just said, to heck with it, let's start a boutique. So we both put some money in together and created a business, and we launched it in August of, it had to have been 2022, because it's been a year.
Yeah, it was August, yeah.
And we were online for the first year, and we just recently were able to manage to get a storefront, and we're in with one of my really good friends, and she's a nail tech, so we own a boutique and a nail salon, and we've got a massage therapist, and we just created like a what do you I don't know, like a wellness center, like come get pampered, come take care of yourself kind of thing.
Husbands, don't send your wives.
So yeah, but that starting a business was definitely a huge headache, but it's been very fun and rewarding. And I feel like just like now, I mean, we literally just opened 1 week ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's been such a blessing, and
You can
just
kind
to
of
see all your hard work pay off.
Yeah, you can kind of see like what you envisioned kind of come to fruition.
Yeah.
When throughout the whole thing you're like that wouldn't, I'd never be able to do that, and now you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
So while we were at the first house, right before we sold it, and then we moved it back in with my parents, and then we were still trying to get our house. No. We were looking.
We were looking for.
We didn't know what we were going to do.
Yeah, we were just kind of up in the air.
And so this is when it goes sideways a little bit.
Yeah. So we.
I'll tell. I got this part.
Yeah, you
So
do that.
So we every now and then. And I don't know if everybody's like this, but me and Haley are not trees, and that means if we don't like where we're at, we roll out. And we have the tendency to make what would it be called? Not impulsive decisions, but
basically
life-changing decisions.
Yeah,
quickly.
we're just those people that if we see something and we want to do it, we know you only have this one life.
Yeah.
And we always know that God's going to work it out, whatever happens,
or fix it,
and
that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
No,
but
we learned a lot.
But sometimes that can be maybe not a good thing. So we ended up deciding, hey, we don't have any debt. We can really do whatever we want to right now.
Yeah, and then I just remember thinking, who says we have to live here?
Who says we have to live here? So we just got this kind of bright idea to, we got to looking at houses everywhere. And there's a certain distance that I have to live to be able to work where I work at. Excuse me.
Don't yawn.
I'm sorry. So we ended up buying a house that was, what would you say, 50 minutes or so?
It was an hour.
It was an hour.
An hour from where we are. Which doesn't sound bad, but it's just the drive of that hour.
It was bad. And we went from living kind of out in the country to living in the city.
I mean, in a neighborhood where if I looked out my bathroom window, I could see into the neighbor's kitchen.
Yeah.
It was there was nowhere to park.
You could barely park a golf cart at our house.
Yeah.
And it was
cute and it was fun. Like, I loved the idea of being in the neighborhood, having neighbors, letting, Joe ride her bike. And in my head, it was magical.
It was more postcardish than it was
absolutely
practical for us.
I hated it. I hated parking.
She hated it, yeah.
I didn't hate the house. I liked the house.
Yeah, the house was actually pretty nice.
And I didn't even mind being in a neighborhood if we would have just had like a little more space in between.
So anyway, we moved to this house. We quickly realized that was not the best decision.
Yeah.
So I
said, well, if we're not going to just dive deep and plant roots here, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And we called up our realtor for the third time.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, can we get out of this house without going upside down? And he said, you have got to be kidding me.
It was like, what, 2 months?
We were in that house for, I'm not even lying, like 62 days.
Yeah, wow, 62. That means she's counted it, sure.
Yeah. And
yeah, it wasn't long, I know that. We were in there just long enough to have Christmas.
Yeah, we moved in November 1st, or that's when we bought it. And then we were out of it by like the second week of January.
So this is where it gets even more twisty. So you go for it.
So we knew we wanted out of the house, but we didn't know what we wanted to do or where we wanted to. Sorry.
What was that?
I dropped that thing for the computer. We didn't know where we wanted to be.
But we knew we didn't want to rush it this time.
Yeah, we knew we didn't want to jump into another house. And so I talked to my mom and was like, hey, can we buy a camper and put it in your yard? And I know everybody thought we were insane.
We were insane.
I mean, yeah.
And all of this is taking place with a 1.5 year old.
So we buy us a camper. Didn't even have a vehicle to pull it with.
Yeah, didn't even
have a truck. The guy
that
we bought it from was so generous enough to bring it to us. He delivered it. And that was January.
Yeah.
And so we lived in this camper from January to May.
Yeah.
Or I think it was like the end of May.
And it got hot.
It got hot. It was not it wasn't a fifth wheel. I mean, it was still a big camper. It was a big one, yeah. It just didn't have...
It was a nice camper.
Yeah. If it would have had 2 AC units, we probably could have done it a lot longer.
Yeah.
But there was only one and it was getting hot. And so we knew, and during this time of living in the camper, we bought land back where we originally lived.
Yeah.
And we knew that we were either going to build or buy or do something. We knew we were going to live there. And
we weren't even really planning on buying this land.
Yeah, it just kind of fell in our lap. I just happened to get on Realtor. And
she sent it to me while I was at work.
I found it and was like, what is this? And I immediately sent it to our Realtor
and
said, hey, can we like make this happen?
Yeah.
So for like the 5th time, he made it happen again.
He made it happen. What a guy.
So if you need a realtor, we know a guy.
We know a guy.
He's really good at what he does.
And if you need a realtor and you are in the upper portion of South Carolina or
North Carolina
or the lower portion of North Carolina,
we have the guy.
We got the guy for you.
He has made some things happen that definitely
were near impossible.
Yeah. So we buy this land, and then we were gonna build, and then interest rates were absolute crap. And we couldn't agree on anything, and what we wanted wasn't realistic at the time.
Meaning we couldn't afford what we thought we could afford.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Because we are technically a one-income household.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And so we end up while we were in the camper, we decided to buy a mobile home and put it on our land, and surprisingly fell in love with it, brand new. And
it's the first new thing that we've ever lived in.
It was nice to not live in something.
They definitely don't make them like they used to.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't have like the what do you call it? Seams in the wall, the little panels. Strips.
I mean, it's like it's full sheetrocked and everything. I mean,
I love
it. It's a house. It looks like a trailer from the road.
Yeah, kinda. But on the inside, you'd be like, dude.
But we got the brick and stuff underneath. I mean, it's it's pretty schmancy.
It's not just like your 1980s metal trailer.
Yeah. No.
But so while we lived in the camper, we pulled the trigger on that. And that's the only reason we moved out of the camper is because we thought we were like 1 month away from getting in the house. So we called his parents back up for the 3rd time and said, hey, it's getting real hot in this camper. Can we go ahead and sell it? And we'll just be upstairs for like a month. And then we'll be in our new house. And we'll leave y'all alone for forever.
My parents, they have seen all they can see of us. That's for sure.
They are the real MVPs. OGs. Yeah. So they let us come back for the 3rd time. Yeah. And what was supposed to be 1 month turned into all of June, all of July, all of August, and half of September. It was like the week before your birthday before we moved into this house. But yeah, now we made it. We're here.
Yeah, we made it, and we are here living in the final shebang until this one burns to the ground. I'm not moving.
I mean, we've got to be given a house at this point to leave this thing.
It's got to be something drastic. But we're where we want to be at and in what we want to be in. I'm doing the job that I want to do. You're running your business.
Yep.
And
raising a toddler.
We have a beautiful little girl named Joanna. And I know we haven't really said much about her, but she is about 98% of our life.
Oh, she's 100% of my life. She might be 98% of yours.
No. Let's not be facetious.
No, she's great. I love her.
Yeah, she is.
But yeah, so in the almost 4.5 years of being together, I have moved more times since I have been with you than I have in my entire life. I think before I met you, I moved like maybe 2 times, and it was like a mile down the road.
It's the gypsy in me as well.
Yeah, can't stay put. So we moved a bunch of times, had a baby, changed jobs.
Oh my God! And we did most of that at the same time.
Yeah,
Holy cow!
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody asks us like how
did you do that? I would never.
And we're just like, we don't really know. We just did it.
We just kind of did it,
and we're not sure why.
But thankfully,
God has always provided.
God has provided, and we ended up where we wanted to be, and doing what we want to do, and we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Enjoying life.
Yep.
I would say that now more than ever we're, and I guess as a young couple, you get married, and especially in today's time, you get married, it's just so easy for you to want all of these like end game things.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want the big house, you want the big wedding, you want a nice car, you want your kids to go to a nice school, you wanted all of that stuff, but it's kind of flip-flopped. Most people don't get those things until later in life when they're financially able to do it.
Well, the problem is that our generation we have this like entitlement. Like we think that at 25 we're supposed to be in the 2,000 square foot house with the 2-car garage and the pool in the backyard, and that's like that's end game goals.
Our parents either bought that in 1940 when it was $35 or they got that way later in life,
and interest rates were at 8-9%
forever to get it.
Yeah.
And
you have to pay your dues.
So it's almost like hearing I almost feel like we kind of cheated, that we got what we wanted way too early. Not because we had like a bunch of money to buy it with. It's just we kind of had to, I feel like God kind of helped us reshape what we wanted.
Yeah.
And that we're kind of in it now. Most people 4 years into marriage don't necessarily get to be in where they want to be in, doing what they want to do, and feel like they're in their prime final landing ground.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're there.
Well, I think at least also there. Part of it is we knew we wanted land.
Yeah, that was the constant.
Yeah, that was the constant. So we knew that if we can just get the land, and whatever comes is gonna come. We pulled the trigger, and we got the new mobile home, whatever, and even if that's not the end goal, I mean, this thing could blow down tomorrow in a tornado.
Oh yeah, easy.
But the land is still there.
It's funny that you should say that.
Yeah, we're prepping for storms.
Pretty sure we're gonna have one tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we've also had a ton of people, and I'm sure that this was God, but I'm sure we've had a ton of people throughout those 4 years that either did something for us or helped us in some way. That, well, not necessarily money, but just like my parents let us stay here. Your mom and them let us stay there in the camper, like little things here and there that we didn't really think a lot about at the time, but we couldn't have done those things without those opportunities.
Oh, for sure.
And a lot of people don't have those opportunities, so I feel like
your support system plays a big factor into what you can do in life.
Ours was very, very beneficial. So and I think that's another reason that I wanted to do this podcast, because I feel like you and I have so much to, I guess it's rare when you have someone that you feel so strongly and deeply on the same wavelength with.
Yeah.
On, a million different topics.
Right.
And I think it's super, and especially me, for myself, I don't really know of anybody's podcast like that, because I'm not really necessarily into that world yet, but I can see how beneficial it would be for me to be able to listen to somebody talk about these things who is in the same spot that I am in life.
Oh, yeah, just to know that there's other young couples that are trying to make it in this crappy economy. Yeah. And, we've got kids. We're trying to figure out how to parent and make them into decent human beings. Yeah. And I don't think we've really mentioned it yet. We've mentioned God at a couple turns, but for anybody that's listening that is curious, we are Christian family. Yeah. And that adds a double difficulty to being a young family in today's world, is trying to raise your child and your family in a Christian home. Mm-hmm. Now, we live in the South, so it's much easier here than it is other places.
But that's kind of our goal, I would say. Yeah. Is to at least raise our daughter in a Christian home. And
I mean, the goal in general is just to make sure she knows Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
If everything else burns to the ground, it's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you're not a fan of that, you can just scoot on to the next one.
Wow. But yeah, that's that's another reason that I feel like this podcast will be beneficial, because we can talk about, and I'm sure that we will talk about a vast variety of different things that we feel super strongly about, and maybe that there are some other people that feel strongly about too, but don't necessarily have a network of people who feel that same way, or who they may want to know more about something that we can talk about together. I know that I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts on, I know this sounds boring, but like politics and conspiracy stuff. Like, I know
we're totally conspiracy.
We're super conspiracy nerds, and she is way more than I am. Yeah, way more. She's like the rabbit hole kind of.
Oh yeah, Man on the Moon. Didn't happen.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get to all of that, but I just think it'll be cool to be able to give some people an outlet to be able to go to listen and hear real people that are our age.
Because nobody knows that we're doing this.
Yeah, we haven't told any of our family or our friends, or I think maybe we've told one or two friends in confidence. Yeah, that we're doing this just to see how it goes,
and just to see how many people like find us and give us a listen that we don't know.
Yeah, and feel, that's really how you can tell if it's beneficial. Because yes, it is beneficial for me and you to talk to each other. But when you cut the two microphones on and record it, we're having the same talk, but also at the same time, somebody else is going to be able to listen to it and maybe benefit from something, or the opposite, whatever. But I really just kind of wanted to do this for. I haven't put a label on how long, but I just want to do it and commit to it for a certain amount of time.
How long? I mean, are you trying to do this by seasons? What is a season?
No, I don't know about that. I don't think I'm really into the seasons thing. Yeah. But I just want to do it on a consistent basis, and just to say that we have created something and been consistent with it.
Yeah, I agree.
And it gives us an opportunity because you and I spend a lot of time. I mean, obviously we got a 2.5-year-old. She's running around here breaking stuff, throwing things at you, and just, it's chaos around here all the time. So sometimes at night we have a tendency to just chill on our phones and, float off into the abyss,
Yeah.
And I think this will give us a chance to consistently talk about certain stuff and whatever it may be, life, and just to stay connected even more.
Yeah, I agree.
Than we normally do. Because I would think it would be fair to say that when we first started at the beginning of this, you were a heck of a lot more nervous than you are now.
Yeah, for sure.
How has that changed?
I mean,
because I can sense it in your voice.
I mean, I don't know how it changed. The more you talk, the less nervous you get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm trying to not think about the way my voice sounds. And now I'm thinking about it again because you're making me talk about it.
So yeah, this, like Haley said, we're gonna talk about a million different things, and we are. Well, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I am excited. I'm excited to, I guess, share what we believe and see either how much hate we get.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Or see how many other like-minded young families.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that we feel strongly on that there's little to no network for.
Yeah. Or there is. It's just not.
It's very hard to find.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a benefit to a lot of people, especially parents that are our age. And you never know. Maybe this can turn into something, and we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, what's the goal? Once a week?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I would say once a week, just because. I mean, honestly, right now, just having a time where we can conversate is relaxing to me.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, the therapeutic aspect of it.
Yeah, this will be therapy.
God knows we need therapy.
I don't think we need therapy.
Oh, I need therapy. Yeah.
They said you were good though.
That's a true story. I did see a therapist once, twice. But anyway, what else?
I don't know.
It's the first episode, so we don't really have a script.
Yeah,
we're not really going by anything. We're just kind of winging it. But we did want to kind of introduce ourselves and tell our story a little bit and how we got where we are and what we're doing while we're doing this, and kind of where we're headed. We don't really know where we're headed, but we know where we're going to be at.
Yep.
That's all we know right now, and we are how would you categorize it into one sentence that us as a family and like our type of people?
I mean, I feel like I don't even want to do that because once you
think so,
you're gonna stick a label on us, and then we're already gonna be written off. But we're very open minded.
Yeah.
Like just because we believe something, we're not, and you don't, we're not gonna shut you down.
Yeah, I think some of the
and I think that's a lot of problem with our generation. Everybody's like, oh, you don't
feel what I'm feeling, then
you out.
I'm out. Yeah.
Like we can still have a conversation. Let's be adults about it.
Oh, absolutely. I think at some point, I mean, depending on how long we do this and if it goes well and we get kind of in a groove with it, I think maybe we can have some friends on every now and then, and that would be fun.
That would be fun.
I'm sure you've got people in mind, but
yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the ordeal, and I think we're gonna call it the Totally Worth It podcast. So
Yeah.
we're gonna kind of market it that way and see who all tunes in.
Yeah. Just go with it.
Just go with it. That's what we did.
Yeah.
That's our
Just do it.
That's our life motto.
Nike should have sponsored us.
Yeah,
we are
they might.
the Just Do
once
It
they
people.
Once they hear our story, they might. That's
Sell
what
your
we do.
house, just do it. Buy another one,
Yeah,
just do it. Have a kid, do it.
should we get married, change jobs, and have a baby in the same month? Just do it.
Why not? What else you got to lose?
Just do it. Yeah. Anything else for the first episode, or we?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I mean, I feel like we're good. What's our time?
It's weird because the computer is telling me that it looks like 1976 seconds.
What?
Yeah. So I don't know how many minutes that is, but I'm sure it's roughly looking at. I mean,
I could have just checked my phone. It's 10:40.
Yeah. We should probably look at.
It's probably been an hour.
Yes. Oh, it's been at least an hour.
Oh, well, let's just wrap it up then.
Okay. All right. Well, whoever, if anyone listened to this, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
And we will, like Haley said, we'll be back. So my schedule with the job that I work, it's flip-flopped each week, so it won't necessarily be on the same day each week.
But it'll be once a week.
Once a week. One may be early, one may be later, but it should be once a week.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we will.
I don't know.
We'll see you see you. Well,
We'll
we probably won't
have
see you, but we'll.
Yep. Well, we won't even hear them. So
That's a true story. Yeah, we'll.
I don't know.
We'll talk to you.
You'll listen to us.
Yeah, you'll listen to us next time, maybe, if you didn't hate what we said. All right.
All right.
It's a wrap.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Cool. We're still figuring it out.
And
Y'all have a
see.
good